I have a confession. I religiously give 5-star ratings to every book that I deem a little bit worthy. So, take this video with a grain of salt. My top 6 books of 2026. Let me preface before this video starts. I've only read 14 books so far this year. It is April 26th and I've only read 14 books. A lot of these are going to be very high rated, which I do not have the majority on when it comes to ratings on Goodreads, and people tend to disagree with me a lot. So, these are, in my opinion, the best books I've read out of the 14 books that I've read so far this year. Now, I also will say all of these are book talk recommendations. So, take with that what you will. The first book I've read on this list is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This book, I will say, at the time when I rated this book on Goodreads, I did give it a 5 star. Looking back on it now, I probably would have gave it a 4.5, 4.3 star, only because I'm not a big fan of very slow burn, and this took a lot of time to get to where it needed to go for me. This is an enemies to lovers YA fantasy. The start of the book opens up with Ceres, however you want to say it. In my head, when I was reading, I was saying Ceres, and her brother. I don't remember the brother's name. Basically, it's one of those books that the female main character is in the slums or the poor neighborhood of this huge, almost dynasty like environment. She ends up being, of course, a good looter, pickpocketer, and likes to steal a lot of things. When I got to the halfway mark in this book, it kind of slowed down a little bit for me. Honestly, I was just waiting for the next part to happen so I can get along with the plot, because it took forever for the plot to actually happen and for me to understand what the book was actually going to be about. I would say about 35% of the way through reading, you find out that there's other worlds and universes, and the queen of her universe or whatever thinks that Ceres has this power and is out to get her and to report back to the people that is trying to kill the queen. This is the point of the book that actually got me a little more excited to finish and get through the actual book, because this is where it started to pick up. Ultimately, she steals something, the queen captures her, or the queen soldiers captures her, and she's put to death, but she has this metal bending ability and is able to stop her capture from killing her, and she runs toward the sword that is calling her in the basement like building that she's in. I don't even know. Anyways, the sword is calling out for her. She touches the sword. She has the sword in her hand. Then metal appears below her, or Quicksilver appears below her. She basically passes out because she's about to die. And then this is where we meet the MMC, who don't know why in the world his name is this. It frustrated me so much. I hate when characters in books have the most ridiculous names. I just didn't like it. Anyways, his name is Kingfisher. He ends up saving her and taking her back to his universe, world of Fae. This is a Fae fantasy book. So throughout the book, there's lots of Fae humans, there's vampires like creatures, there's shadows and all sorts of things. I liked the book in the moment, but now looking back on it, there's not a lot that I explicitly remember about it that's like that makes it very memorable in my head. There is a book too. I was gonna read it. It's called Brimstone. I wasn't really I didn't really gravitate towards it because I didn't care for the first book as much as I thought I did in the moment. But who knows, maybe that one's a lot better. Okay, these next two books, I'm going to put them together. They're roped in next to each other. They're part of a series. I've read, I think there's 5 books. I think I've read 4. It's Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled by Layla Sage. These are books 1 and 2 of the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So we'll start with Done and Dusted, book 1. This follows Emmy, or Clementine Ryder, and Luke Brooke. I will tell you, this is a 5-star read for me. I think I also put Swift and Saddled as a 5-star. This is just such a cute little romance that's so easy and quick pace to get through, and it's so good for what it's supposed to be. I will say the first two books are the only ones that really made me feel all giddy. The other two that I have read are good as well. It's just, in my opinion, not as good as the other ones that I've read. This is a cowboy romance following Emmy, our main character, and Luke Brooks, who owns a pub in Meadowlark. This book is childhood best friends to lovers, I would say. When Emmy first gets back into town, nobody knows why she's there. She's this big time horse racer. She's basically a pop star in her hometown. When she comes back into town, she runs into Luke, who is her childhood brother's best friend. And basically, it's that kind of forbidden love because you're my best friend's brother or my brother's best friend type of thing. Obviously, we know how that always turns out. They end up getting into a sneaky relationship behind everybody's backs and tries to hide it from the brother. There are a lot of cute scenes in this book though. A scene with um there's a scene with waterfall and swimming and favorite spots and secret spots, jealousy, all the things. Let's just say that. And it was a really fun read. I will say it was really fun to read. Towards the middle of Done and Dusted, you find out that her brother Weston is trying to improve the ranch and build on another property to make almost like a bed and breakfast type thing where people can stay out when they visit the ranch. It's not talked about that much in Done and Dusted, but that is where the second book starts. Swift and Saddle is about Weston Ryder and Ada Hart. Ada is the designer that comes and helps out the writers with everything to do with this bed and breakfast. So she's designing construction, she's doing interior designing, and all of this stuff to make sure that it actually turns out good. And of course, it can't be book two without somebody falling in love. I am going to say in this book, the female main character did annoy me just a little bit, only because she was trying so hard not to want Weston and it was so aggravating at times. There was a part of the book that did explain this, that she didn't want to start a relationship because she was going to be leaving soon and she got another offer to do other contract design work outside of the ranch. But in my opinion, I don't think that that would have been a big enough reason for her to not have gotten together with him in that moment. Obviously, they end up getting together. In my opinion, their relationship did drag on a little bit, only because she was so unsure about this relationship that she obviously really wanted as much as he did. Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton. I'm not gonna lie, I did read this book back in February, so I'm not 100% clear on every single thing that happened in this book, but I will try my best. The male main character in the beginning really pissed me off about the way that he kind of went about chasing the female main character. This is another one of those books that I seen all over Book Talk before I actually picked it up. This book was written, in my opinion, more like a fan fiction than an actual published book should be. And that's nothing bad I'm gonna say about the author. It's just I would have liked more in depth with the characters and the plot and what was going on around the characters than there was. I just feel like this book was a little copy and paste of every other book on the market right now, which was so disappointing because I've had so many recommendations to read this book, not only from Book Talk, but from my friends and family that have said they've loved the book. And just in my opinion, it kind of turned up dry for me. And there was no chemistry between the main characters at all. I felt like they kind of just jumped into something because of sexual attraction, which, in my opinion, doesn't make a good book. There was some cute banter at times, but I don't know. It's just character seemed very two-dimensional. So I gave it 2.5 stars. Okay, the next two books are another books in a series. It's book 4 and book 5. The Bonds That Tie by Jay Bree. Okay, I listened to these on audiobooks back in February when I was working a lot and still wanted to have some sort of entertainment. Book 1 is what really reeled me into the series and made it seem so good. but books 4 and 5 were my absolute favorite, and I gave both 5 stars. I only read the original series. I know there is a book that came out about all of the point of views of the guys that are in the story. Personally, didn't interest me too much to read about what they were thinking, honestly. So I don't feel like it was necessary to have that book because we got so much information in the 5 other books that were published in the female main character's point of view. If you hear banging, my neighbor bangs on his car every second of every day, so sorry about that. Basically, each book is about a different guy. In the first book, it goes through how our female main character became who she is and how these powers of hers have been taking over her brain and her nights and her mind when she's struggling with having this power inside of her that she can't really control. This series is very interesting to me because I don't think I've ever read anything like this before. It was so refreshing just to get another kind of fantasy book that is not what you read every day. A lot of the reviews I've read about book 4 has said that it is a little slower compared to the other books, and I have to agree with that, but I also think it's very good pace for what she's trying to set up for the last book. All of these, maybe not book 1, but at least books 2 through 4 or 5, whatever, has a lot of spicy scenes. So be prepared when you read those books that there is a lot of spicy scenes that have to do with, I'll just say they have to do with using your powers during those intimate moments. And it's just a lot. So if you're not into that, this series probably isn't for you. That's all I'm going to say about those 2 books, only because it's books 4 and 5. And if I go too deep into what those books are about, it might hinder you from reading the first 1 through 3. But I do highly recommend this series if you're looking for a very good world building, powerful fantasy book that involves very intricate powers and plot and setting, and at times involve 5 men at one time for the female main character, then I think this book series definitely is for you. These are my top 6 books of 2026 so far. Please let me know what you guys think about these books in the comments. If you've read them, maybe we can have a conversation about them. And also make sure to let me know any books you guys think that I would like. And make sure to like, subscribe, and follow all my socials down below. Bye.